A train accident in Tamil Nadu has led to a political blame game. The Mysuru-darbhanga express had hit a stationary goods train. This incident had injured 19 passengers and raised concerns about railway safety. Political leaders including Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi are questioning the government's accountability. The collision has sparked debates about the safety protocols of the Indian Railways. Many are drawing comparisons to past train accidents. The opposition is using this event to highlight what they see as ongoing issues with railway management. Rail authorities are under pressure to explain how such an accident could occur. They are being asked to review and improve safety measures to prevent future incidents. The public is also demanding answers and assurances of safer travel. This accident has become a focal point for political discussions. It has brought attention to the need for better infrastructure and management in the railway sector. This brings us to ask these big questions. Why is there silence on back-to-back derailment plots? Should Netas demand JPC on attacks on Indian Railways? Are back-to-back derailment bids not a cause for worry? Should opposition demand thorough probes on derailment bids? And will Netas treat derailment bids as a serious security threat? Joining us at this point is Lakhmi G, political analyst. We also have Lakhmi Ramachandran, Congress spokesperson, live with us. Sumit P, senior political commentator, is live with us. Major General Sudhakar G, defense expert, also joins us live. Let me make a start with you first. Lakhmi Ramachandran, why is political accountability being demanded from the centre on this incident? Why do you believe this is a fault of the Union government and the Union Railways Minister and Ministry?
Good evening. So this particular accident happened in the outskirts of Chennai, in a place called Kavarapetai. And this is, there was a goods train which was stationary, and the Mysuru-darbhanga express went and rammed with the goods train. So they were on the same line. It is again being claimed that it was a signal failure. And since the express train rammed against a stationary goods train and the goods train was empty, there have been no casualties. Otherwise, it is a very similar accident to what happened in Orissa in 2023, where we lost about 300 lives and more than 1,000 people were injured. So it is very similar to the Balasore train accident. Luckily, since the goods train was empty, there have been no incidents of no casualties that have been reported. But it is a shame that in this age and this time, this kind of accidents, two trains are on the same line, and this kind of accidents due to collision are happening, because we are talking about very state-of-the-art technology. The railway minister, who is very busy making reels, has explained to us theoretically how the Kavach technology is available to us, which can prevent this kind of accidents because of collision. And we want to understand from the government what is the status of implementation of Kavach across all trains. How many lives are we going to lose despite the technology being available to us? How many lives are we going to lose at this rate? Number two, why is the railway minister talking about everything else? He is the person who is representing the government on all other issues, but when it comes to railway accidents, he keeps mum, and you don't see him at all. He does not issue a statement. He does not meet the press. When are we going to ask for accountability from the railway ministry, the railway minister, and this government about these railway accidents that are, that have put to question the safety of, every railway is a mass transit that is available to ordinary citizens. If everyday travel is going to be so unsafe, then what have we got the entire organization to, is the second question. The third question, and the third thing that has to be noted here is, the state government was very swift. Emergency support was immediately rushed to the station. There were villages in the vicinity of where the accident took place who rushed to the area, supported the people. There was also a fire that had to be put out, which was put out by the villages in the vicinity, and people, many lives were saved, and people who were injured were rushed to the hospitals in Chennai. So this kind of swift operation by the locals, by the railway officials and the state government has saved lives in this case. Why is the central government, why is the railway minister so complacent? Who is accountable for all these accidents that seem to be increasing every day?
Whether there was a sabotage or whether it was a signal error or whether it was a driver error, that the investigation will now uncover. But of late there have been also these plots where foreign objects have been found on railway tracks, other efforts have been seen. Do you believe that is also concerning, that there is someone trying to sabotage the Indian Railways as well?
I mean, if there is sabotage, the government has to conduct an investigation, find out who the people who are involved, and bring them under the law. I mean, that is the role of the Railway Investigative Agency. Why are they not doing their job?
Okay.
You just cannot speculate and sit and not do anything about it. Do your job.
Okay, let me take that straight across to our other guests as well. Let me bring in Lakhmi Joshi at this point. Lakhmi Joshi, what do you make of the political blame game that has also erupted? The government is not doing their job, says the Congress party. Of course, the Congress spokesperson on today's debate, and also their party's senior leaders, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, crying foul. What do you make of this fallout of this incident in Tamil Nadu?
Very firstly, a very happy Dashera to you and all your viewers there. And yes, this is a very unfortunate tragedy, I would say. And it is sad and it is shocking to see how some of the political parties have made it like a political slugfest. Now the deafening silence over all these incidents of sabotage, that is actually very concerning. So, these political parties should have actually voiced their concern at every one of those incidents as well. Like in the past so many days, you have seen that, you have had incidents where people have put, huge cylinders, etc. on the tracks. And not one word of condemnation from any of these political parties who today have suddenly felt all this concern and who have actually started, Miss Priyanka Vadra has actually compared it with the Balasore tragedy. So, even in Balasore, if you remember that it was a clear case of sabotage. Now, yes, it is concerning. Every life matters, whether it is an injury or whether it is a death. Every life matters, and the government definitely has to take steps, and they are taking steps. This system of the Kavach, which the opposition parties are asking what has happened to it. Let me just tell you that, we have a huge, it is a very mammoth task to put this system of the Kavach, because you have it's not an easy task. So it is happening in pieces. It's happening in bits and pieces, but it is happening right now. So it has happened over I believe 1/4 of the entire stretch, because you have this stretch is some of the areas are really not very easily accessible. So whenever the system of Kavach comes into place, I'm sure that a lot of all these accidents will definitely be taken care of, and I'm sure that the government is making use of drones and a lot of sophisticated techniques to make sure that whatever incidents are happening, they are definitely reduced. And all of that, it's something that, all political parties should come together to tackle all of this. It's not as if, during the UPA time there were no accidents. In fact, there were more accidents at that time if you look at the statistics. So but every time there is this accident, and now every time without even waiting to see if it was a case of sabotage or whether it is something about, say, maybe, one of those cases, I think the engine driver, he actually overlooked the signals. So, things like that have happened. So whose fault it is, without even looking at any of that, the opposition parties have only one thing to say, that they want the resignation of the railway minister. So this is something silly. So instead of actually looking at how it happened, why it happened, they're actually jumping the gun. I think that they are actually kind of supporting the people who are creating all this nuisance. So this thing about where they're trying to show that this Indian railway system is a big failure, I think that, it is kind of looking like as if it is a concerted effort to make it look like that, because they're not one word against the people who are actually trying to sabotage it, but every time there is an incident, they talk about how the railway minister should resign. I definitely agree that, this is not something to be taken lightly. So I think that definitely, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, he is a very well-read, a very efficient minister at that, and he has actually brought about a lot of changes. And this thing about the Kavach, it is a very revolutionary idea, which definitely I think will make a huge difference. But we have to wait for it to be effective all over the entire stretch. But at the same time, if people want to purposely sabotage the situation, then I think it is definitely going to take a longer time, because these people have to support and cooperate. So, in states where the BJP is not in rule, and even in states where the BJP is in rule, everybody has to cooperate, because the railways, they pass through states which may or may not be under the BJP rule. So you have to be very careful and sensitive about all these issues. You cannot just simply jump the gun and say that the government is at fault without even looking at whether it is a sabotage. So let the investigations happen, and then we can actually point the blame as to whose head has to roll. So before that, I think that the politicians should definitely take a good look at when and what they have to say about all these things there. This is a very sensitive issue, not to make politics out of it.
Okay, let me quickly take that across to Sumit P as well. Sumit P, what do you make of this again? Another incident involving, of course, the railways. While we don't quite know what happened here, but there have been numerous sabotage attempts in the past as well. Should those be raised with as much gusto as the opposition is raising this particular incident? What do you make of the political blame game that has also erupted, Sumit P, and this pattern, unfortunately, with our railways that's emerging?
Uday, thank you for having me on your show. Happy Vijayadashmi to you and all our viewers. And let me begin by putting some perspectives in the plane, which are facts. Look, India has the third to fourth largest railway network in the world. India carries maximum number of people than anybody else in the world. And if you look at the accidents, the biggest railway network today is in United States of America, and the number of accidents, if it is all to do about technology and Nikamma minister and the incompetent people, is 3 times than India, what happened in India annually. I'm looking at last 10 years average. So trying to blame that the India is backward, India's technology is backward, railway ministers are incompetent, then everybody in America should resign. That is the first thing, because the accidents are 3 times than what happens in India. Point number 2, if you talk of the Kavach is only installed, it's a new technology which Ashwini Vaishnav Ji showed us. It is installed, Uday Ji, only in 3 to 5% of the railway network as on date. 3 to 5% only. 95% of the railway network is yet to be covered. So how does Mahagyani Sri Rahul Gandhi Ji confer that there is Kavach installed here? And how does Sri Rahul Gandhi Ji and his sister Priyanka Ji confer that, and they have the Bhavishwani and they have the Drishti to know that there is no sabotage involved and it was the failure. And as they have concluded all this and they have already kind of decided on this, then it is but logical for them to ask for the Ashwini Vaishnav to resign. So can Rahul Gandhi and the Congress Pravakta here confirm us is Kavach installed on this track? Can she confirm that it is not a sabotage? Can Congress party stretch their neck out and say it is not a sabotage? If it is not a sabotage, I will ask them, how do they know it is not a sabotage? Usually these accidents are bad, and Uday, if you look at it, we have been warning this on various media and national TV and social media channels. Like, this is a problem which India is facing. I would not even want to bring up, cylinders on the rail track. Tracks have been cut. Those motorcycle alloy wheel that is put on the rail track, then concrete blocks are put on the rail track, iron poles are put on the rail track. And I'm not trying to get a religious color into it, but look at the record. How many people have been arrested and what is the religion of those people? Just look at that. Go by numbers. Don't believe what I say. Go by those numbers. So why Congress was silent then? Why didn't they bring up then? And why was it so inconvenient for them to bring up then? No, were you waiting for a disaster to happen? Were you always waiting for, कहते हैं ना वो बहते पानी में हाथ धोना. When a disaster happens, then you come and say, oh, this is bad, that is bad, that is bad. When sabotages were happening, when a particular people from a particular community were caught doing these sabotages, then you were not willing to talk on it, you were not willing to talk about it, and when we have been shouting over lungs over, there's something going to happen. And here, it can be even a human error. I'm not saying it is a sabotage, it can be even a human error. So when we have such a complex scenario, how are we conferring that this is a mismanagement? So by doing this, we are trying to bring bad name to a country. Why we are trying to bring the bad name to the country? Because we are working on the world's most ambitious project, Gati Shakti. By Gati Shakti, we'll bring down our logistic cost by 8%. When we bring down our logistic cost by 8%, all the industries, all the output will be highly competitive, with the people like Germany and all, which have the lowest logistic cost. Even if you look at Germany, if you look at China, if you look at Japan, they have equally big networks. Accidents have happened in the past, and accidents keep on happening. I gave you the number of United States of America. So are we saying, I'm not trying to justify accidents, and don't take me wrong, but when we talk of statics and we talk of data, are we trying to say that the people in America are idiots, they don't know how to run trains? Are the Americans also incompetent for last 30, 40 years, and their incompetence has only grown in time? No. These Americans can make the highest pieces of technology and can get everything and these rockets and Apaches and missiles right, but they don't know how to run the tracks. Uday, it's a complex business. There are a lot of things which happen, and especially the sabotages in India have been a grave area of concern. We as India need to get united and talk about those issues, because whenever you avert a rail accident, it's not a national news, nobody talks of it. Unfortunately, when an accident has to happen, it will become a news because the accident has happened. So rather than using this political opportunity to cast aspersions on the government, bring down the image of the country, talk about whatever they want to talk, is when the results of this recent elections came in, what did Modi ji say in his speech? What did he have to say about the Congress? What did he have to say about the Congress's role in working with Videshi Shaktis to bring down the country? So what are you trying to do here? How do you know, Mr. Gandhi, that this is not a human error? This is not an accident. This is not a sabotage. How you have concluded minister is incompetent? How do you know Kavach is installed there? How do you have concluded that Kavach is not working there? And how are you questioning and casting aspersions and putting fright in the millions of people, their hearts and minds, who travel by railway every day, when billions of tons of cargo travels in this country by railway every month? So in a bigger thing, you are questioning the system as such. It is like when you lose the election, Mr. Gandhi, you start questioning EVM, you start questioning Supreme Court, Election Commission, returning officer every day. But when you were making jalebis in the morning, then there was all right. But by afternoon, everything went wrong. Even the jalebis went wrong. So this political slugfest is good for TRP. You can get some headlines, but the people of the country see through what you are intending to do. What we want as a leader of opposition, you have the every right to question the government. But let's do constructive opposition. Let's bring plans. Let's question the things. Let's ask what are the things. Let's wait for the outcome to happen. It is like tomorrow, God forbid, if anywhere in the world there is an air crash. So should Boeing CEO resign? Should the country's minister resign? Or if it is transiting over a country, let's say a plane starts from Los Angeles and goes to Chile. So let's just transiting over Paraguay. So do we want the aviation minister of Paraguay to resign? Whom do we want to resign? So should be the aviation minister of United States of America, Boeing CEO, or the country Paraguay on which it was transiting? Should she resign? No, nobody should resign, because we want logically the things to come to a conclusion. We want to know what happened, where did it happen, but at that point of time we have to stand united and together. What you Uday rightly brought up is the issue of sabotages. Nobody seems to be talking about that. I strongly recommend government to handle all these people with an iron hand, because they are playing with the human lives. These sabotages should be seen as the act of terror, and UAPA should be a minimum kind of imposed on them. They should be booked under UAPA, because that is what it will do. Because if unfortunately accident will happen, which will happen one day, unfortunately it happened today, then whole of the opposition will be questioning everybody and anybody and not questioning the cause. It's like when you do the root cause analysis, you don't look at the you look at the cause. Unless and until you look at the root, the cause will always be different. So then let's be mature. Let's work together and let's get rid of this menace. And we are lucky today we didn't have any human casualties. If things could have been completely other way around, it's today because of Ram Navami, Bhagwan Shri Ram saved us and we do not have a big disaster. We should join our hands and thank him for, by his grace, we avoided a big tragedy today. But this is a dangerous trend, what you rightly pointed out over there, and it has to be nipped in the bud. There is no question of any political slugfest or scoring brownie points. Let's not get into this, because we also know, Mr. Gandhi, you are also playing with the human lives. You and your sister have not uttered a word against sabotages, because look at the people who have been apprehended.
Okay, I'll just allow a quick response from Lakhmi Ji before I get back in Major General Sudhakar Ji, because Lakhmi and Sumit both have raised points. I'm sure Lakhmi wants to respond. Go ahead.
So I don't think any of them have listened to the head of the Southern Railways and the media after it's clearly said that express train should not have been on that line. It should have gone to the main line when it came to the main line. So, I mean, where is the question of sabotage in this case? I mean, even if there was sabotage, nobody is saying, the sabotage should not be investigated, and the person should not be, responsible for the sabotage should not be, should not face the consequences for their act. But in this case, the Southern Railways head has clearly said that it was a mistake on their part, on the, I don't know if it's a signal error or it's a mistake on the part of the planning the train. He should not have been on the line on which the train was standing. So, that's the reason we have technology now. Why is coverage required? Coverage is required so that collisions can be avoided. And why is implementation, despite the technology being available, we are not able to make use of the technology? It is because of the very slow, snail-paced implementation of the technology by the government. This should be, the implementation of coverage should take priority over everything else. You're running all these elite trains, which cost 3 or 4 times, which is completely unaffordable for the common man. What is the point of running so many trains if you cannot ensure basic safety of the passengers who are taking trains? So please go listen to what your own the Southern Railways head has spoken, and then talk. Is my humble request.
Okay, let me go across to Major General Sudhakar Ji then. Major General Sudhakar Ji, what do you make of this particular incident that has happened? Prima facie, what went wrong? And should there be politics over such tragedies?
Uday, good evening. Thank you for getting me, and I must compliment all the previous co-panelists for having articulated their views in a very apt manner. And before I go ahead in responding to your question, greetings on Dussehra to one and all, including the co-panelists. I am a military man. I don't see parties. There is only one party as far as I am concerned, that is the national interest. So therefore, bear me out if I am saying something which might hurt the sentiments and emotions of some of the stakeholders. So when I was called by the coordinator today, I was surprised what the military man has to do in such a discussion. When you have people from Congress and BJP coming and like they have a usual slugfest outside, they would be having in the TV panel. So I didn't get an appropriate answer. So I went down to browse. I said, let me see the statistics. So when I checked up, I must compliment Sumit and Rajlakshmi for whatever they have said. Not that I know them and I admire them. I admire Lakshmi as well. So for having articulated her views. Following things came out. I had Googled in past 25 years, give me the data of number of people who have died in train accident in India. So following things came out, Uday. 2004 to 2014, 171 accidents per year. into 10 years, it comes to 1710 or 1711. And number of people who have died of 904, died 3155 injured. So, and 2014 to 2024, 748 had died, 2087 injured, and the total of 678 consequential train accidents with an average of 68. So compare 68 accidents per year with that of 171. Second thing, which I frankly speaking, I knew vaguely what is UPA and what is NDA. The next data which came up was UPA era and NDA era. UPA era had a total of 2453 died, 1543 injured. NDA era, it had 781 died, 1543 injured. Then I was trying to Google up what is this Kavach? How does it help? Where do we stand? Which are the countries, they have a railway system, they have the Kavach. So to my satisfaction and also horror, the following things stood out in the Google response, that there are total of 14,781 locomotives. Passenger coaches are 84,863 in Indian Railways. Out of 14,781, despite best effort by the government of India, only how many have been? 121. The latest figure I've just got from one of my friends in the railway ministry, he says 144 locomotives have been already fitted with the Kavach. 1465 kilometer tracks out of 126,366 kilometers have been done in past couple of months or years. So what does it mean? The cost, we should also bear the cost in mind. The cost of fitting Kavach in the track, I didn't know that the Kavach also is required for a track. So I have learned in the process to fit a Kavach in a distance of 1 kilometer of track costs 50 lakhs, and with a locomotive it costs 70 lakhs. This is the kind of quantum. So then I went on to Google, how much money has government spent in past so many years? So it threw up the answer. Government has spent more than 1 lakh crore introducing this particular system in 2017 to 18 to replace, renew, upgrade critical safety assets. And it said further that it is 2.5 times more than the investment in the previous decade. So when, as a soldier, when I start comparing all these metrics, then I said, okay, what is this? Where does Indian Railway stand as on today? The Indian Railway, like Sumit brought out, it is, the passengers are numbering to population of Australia, almost 24 million a day, and the workforce is 1.3 million, and it is in a select club of railways to include China, Russia, US, carrying more than 1 billion tons of freight annually. So why am I stating all this, gentlemen? I am stating all this that in such a vast network of railways in a country like ours is not a country, I would say it is a continent, not even a subcontinent. Look at the size, the dimension, the length, the breadth. The accidents, not that I'm accepting the accident. Accident is something worrisome. We need to put our heads together and apply ourselves together so as to find the right answer. By removing the minister, you do not identify the problem correctly, nor do you analyze to find the right answer. That is one part of the issue which I wanted to highlight. Uday, now allow me to give my military dimension. This place where this particular mishap has taken place has to be connected with the dots which Sumit very nicely brought out. It is not one tire here or one ring of a motorcycle there or a couple of cement bags or the gas cylinder at Kanpur. There is a huge design in place. We are actually missing the woods for the trees. We don't understand. We are talking about the red corridor. I'll tell you, there are 5 corridors in India which none of us have time to apply and talk. Each of the corridors is infested with such inimical forces that, leave alone the Maldives. Maldives is as it is infested with radicalized elements. You have Al-Qaeda, you have ISI. There are modules who are operating in this Golden Triangle. I am not talking about the cocaine or the narcotics of Golden Triangle. I am talking about the beautiful Golden Triangle which has got maximum graduates, IT qualified. They have got money, deep pockets in the houses. They have surplus cash to stand here and there. This Golden Triangle is between Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Here we have the most educated people. This also is the Golden Triangle of sensitivity.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.